quite complex system that you have of how you structured your business, but essentially you can only have one website where you can showcase your products and services, and also provide the content to allow these people to solve the problems by themselves. So you don't need to have 4 websites. Is that correct?
Indeed, and we've got 10,000 pieces of content now, so incrementally what we've decided to do is to sort of, filter it off into these different websites and sort of establish the various facets of what we do in these 4 buckets, so to speak. But you only need one website when you start. But the key thing there is, it's you build your proposition one piece of content at a time. You don't think about this big ecosystem that you're going to end up building. So you start off by asking, what are the top 100 questions that anybody ever sort of ask you about your body of material now that you've developed it and you've put your platform content down. And then ask questions. As I encourage people to ask you questions, answer those questions, and continue to develop your content and commit to doing it one piece of content a day, right? Now, all of a sudden, after a year, say, you've got 300 pieces of content. That's a pretty good, solid foundation to be, forging an intelligent content marketing strategy off the back of. And then 2 years later, you'll have 600 pieces of content. And then you say to yourself, how can I possibly develop one piece of content every day like that for 300 days a year? Well, if you're asking people to ask you questions and you answer them, all you have to do is receive the question via the blog, right? Change the language slightly to protect the innocent parties, and then pick up your iPhone and then dictate an answer to it. There you've got a podcast answer. Bang, it's done. It takes 15, 20 minutes to do something like that. You're telling me that every single day you can't come up with something like that? That's what I did. When I got going, it was a case of, right, what are the tools that are out there that are going to help me develop this content on an ongoing basis? So there's an infographic software that you can use. We'll put a link down. I've forgotten what it is for the moment. We develop our own infographics now because we have a graphics team, but it's $30 a month, and we use that for a couple of years initially. Self-generate infographics, a great way to develop a piece of content. Would take me, an hour on a weekend normally to develop one infographic. So I get up early on a Saturday and I develop one infographic. I get up early on a Sunday and I develop another infographic. And there I've got 2 pieces of content that I can publish on Monday and Tuesday. Ask questions, do that kind of stuff. Get yourself in front of a video camera. Get yourself a little teleprompter. You can buy these things for iPads or for iPhones now, a little $150 teleprompter that sits in front of your camera at home, and just run your teleprompter and speak to camera and have a conversation with people like this, reading from the teleprompter, and there you've got content accordingly, a white backdrop. So it's not difficult to actually produce good quality content on an ongoing basis, to build that pool, and then once you become adept at that, and you've got a rhythm and a formula, you'll be amazed just how quickly all of a sudden you've got 200, 300 pieces of content and you're on your way. You've now got a living, eating, breathing proposition, and you just want to continue publishing after that, because every single piece of content that you put down is a nail in the coffin of your competitors, because one more piece of content is an extra piece of content that your competitors have to produce in order to catch up. And if you put your first 100 pieces down and you don't see any response to that, you know that you're really starting to gain some traction on your competition, and in the process anticipate the development of a monopoly in that niche, however you define that niche for yourself.
And you also get that snowball effect, so it starts to monetize at some point as well. So you justify the efforts and you can repurpose that content as well. I think you said podcasting on websites, as you said, like Fiverr and Elance, they'll transcribe the episodes for you for less than $10 a piece, so you can have a blog post going at the same time as you're answering the questions. So it's really easy to come up with a framework to follow.
Well, remember, Simeon, I at the risk of repeating myself over and over and over again about this, and I guess it's everybody's story, rag to riches, I guess, right? But I started from nothing. I was almost bankrupt. I had expertise in my head. I had the confidence to know that if I produced a content proposition to be successful, because I was successful with content between 96 and 2000. Producing the content is easy if you've got the insights as to what that content should be. The practical elements of producing the content easy now. It's not complicated. It's simple stuff. Doesn't have to be expensive at all. I did it from nothing. I built the Hong Kong Visa Handbook, designed the Hong Kong Visa Handbook, wrote it, Martin put it on the internet. You can do all that on ClickFunnels today, no issues. And then I started encouraging people to ask me questions. And out of that, I just, every single day, produced a piece of content. Took me maximum 40 minutes, I would say, altogether. On average, about 20 minutes. Post it, off SEO for Yoast, couching the material from the perspective of a question that somebody would ask in natural language, couching the answer in natural language, and posting it, sticking it on the web. If you had a really good piece of content and you got some extra money, you could then amplify it, stick it on Facebook, go after particular demographics who you want to get this piece of content in front of, because you know it's going to help them, and then they'll be driven to your website. You get an opportunity to have a relationship with them. So you can amplify content like that if you've got the budget to do it, and it's not expensive, as we know. Over time, you get, our traffic is 70% Google organic. 70% of our traffic comes from Google organic, completely free of charge. It's there to be had.
Do you spend any money on advertising?
We don't advertise anything. We put money boosting content on Facebook occasionally. An example of this was the other day where I put a piece of content out called You Have Been Warned. The Hong Kong Immigration Department are essentially working to rule, to address the question that was constantly being asked of me: why is it taking so long for my visa to get approved? The Immigration Department on the website cites a 4-week time frame for case consideration. So they set expectations of service users that it's going to take 4 weeks to get their visa. What they also say is it's 4 weeks from the provision of all the necessary supporting information. Now, what that really means in practical terms is that 50% of people get their visas within 4 weeks, and 50% of their people get their visas within 10 weeks, because the way the process works. So 50% of people have got this question in their mind: I thought it was going to take 4 weeks to get my visa approved. I'm now in week 6. What's going on? They don't like me. They're going to deny me. It's a disaster. What am I going to do if I don't get approved? My kids are not going to be able to go to school, and my wife's going to divorce me because she didn't want to come to Hong Kong in the first place. And we've put all our stuff on the boat ready for unpacking, and the visa hasn't arrived yet. So how are we going to be able to, pick up our lives in Hong Kong without the visa? These are all big questions that people have, right, when they're stuck in this expectation gap of approval time within 4 weeks, when it's actually going to take them 8 to 10 weeks all told. So I put this piece of content out on my blog, and then I amplified it via Facebook. And the way that the amplification process worked meant that essentially we probably got in front of about 15,000 people who have this problem right now in Hong Kong, which is an explanation as to why it's taking so long for the visas to be approved. And that means 15,000 people have now been exposed to what we're all about. And, from that, we're going to get some relationships. And it would have cost me, in fact, it might cost me, I think, 400 Hong Kong dollars to do all of that, which is, $30 US, $40 US, give or take, $50 US maybe.